Yes, now over to you.
Good afternoon to respected dignitaries, guest of the day, HOIs of various departments, faculty members, my dear. I, Khushi Mishra, along with my Ankita Parihar, BA Honors English 5th semester, are here to welcome you. It is a pleasure to welcome you to the 11th day of 30 hours workshop on the topic Path to Developed India, Awakened Youth, Skill Development and Strong Leader. विकसित भारत की राह जागृत युवा कौशल विकास एवं सुदृढ़ taking you back to previous session, Dr. Kumar Pragkar discussed about skill enhancement through the Indian knowledge system and how it focuses on traditional learning methods for modern skill development.
I am pleased and privileged to introduce our Honorable Director of Amity School of Languages, Professor Dr. Kumkum Ray. Her visionary leadership and unwavering commitment have been instrumental in shaping the success of our institution. As our professor is unwell today, we will proceed with the next segment of this session. So, it is my privilege and honor to introduce our esteemed guest speaker today, Dr. Nilofar Shakir. Dr. Shakir is an associate professor and head at the Department of English, Dr. Rafiq Zakaria College for Women, Navkhanda, Sambhajinagar, Aurangabad, with 25 years of teaching experience. She holds a BA from Dr. Rafiq Zakaria College for Women and an MA and PhD from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University. Dr. Shakir holds a PhD with a remarkable thesis titled Amitabh Ghosh Postcolonial Rewriting of History and Culture, reflecting her profound expertise in postcolonial studies and literary analysis. Her scholarly contributions include 28 publications in various esteemed books and journals, showcasing her commitment to advancing literary research. Dr. Shakir has also successfully completed two significant research projects, one sponsored and funded by the University Grants Commission and the other by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, further solidifying her reputation as a dedicated researcher. Under her guidance, five students have been awarded PhD degree, a testament to her mentorship and dedication to fostering new generation of scholars. Her academic endeavors are complemented by her diverse interests in reading, research, travel, and cooking, making her a well rounded and inspiring figure in the academic community. Dr. Shakir has also actively participated in numerous national and international workshops, seminars, and webinars, contributing to the global discourse in English literature and postcolonial studies. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Dr. Nilofar Shakir. The platform is yours now, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Ankita, for the wonderful uh, biodata that you have read. Thanks, all of you, for inviting me for this prestigious workshop on developing India skill development, awaken youth and skill development. I am really honored to be a part of this workshop. There have been many eminent speakers in the workshop. I was browsing through the brochure and all, and that my name stands one among them is a matter of great pride and honor for me. So thank you once again for inviting me. And I feel honored today to present my lecture on leadership skills as an integral part of skill development and awakened youth. So, Shraddha, shall I start with my presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll share the screen.
Yes, sure, ma'am.
Yeah. Is it visible, Shraddha?
Uh, Yet not, but it's actually it's working, ma'am. Just,
Uh, yeah. This is the first slide.
ma'am, yet not visible. Just give
Okay.
the two
Okay.
seconds time.
Just give me one sec. Is it visible now, Shraddha?
Yes, ma'am. Now it's visible.
Okay, okay. So, starting with my presentation on leadership skills, and in my presentation, I am going to focus on effective communication for strong leadership, effective communication for leaders. Since communication is an important factor for success in all spheres, I have selected communication for leadership. How communication is essential for leadership, for successful leadership. And what I have done in my presentation is I have selected certain leaders of India from the past, and also a few from the present, and I have also selected a few Western leaders. And what I have done is I have taken excerpts from their speeches, and through those speeches I will not only highlight the achievements of those leaders, but I will also highlight the uh, communication aspect, how successfully they have communicated with the masses in order to transform their vision into reality. So beginning with this, effective communication, as we all know, is crucial for success. It's very important for success, more so in today's business world, where um we deal with complex situations, complex relationships. So in this world of business today, I think communication assumes greater importance. It has always been so, but in the today's business world, it's more important. That's what I have tried to make it. And uh, in the business world or in an organization, how communication is important for all its members, right from the leader to the subordinates and everyone involved in the organization. Then, how strong communication skills are required. Communication, no doubt, is an art, no doubt about it, but it is also a skill that can be developed with practice and training. And it's more crucial and more important for leaders who head the organization, who are at the position of command, whether it is a business organization, whether it is an educational institution, any venture, because the leader is directly responsible for the success and the failure of an organization. An important responsibility that rests with the leader is looking out, addressing the policy matters. And there are many important things which we shall discuss in my presentation. But the leader bears an important responsibility in the success and failure of any organization. So, keeping these things in mind, what I have done is I have related my topic with leaders of the present and the past, and I have highlighted how their communication skills were, how effective they were, how effective their communication skills were in inspiring others, in motivating others, in influencing others, and consequently contributing to the success of the society, to the success of the nation, to the success of the community. So here it comes. What are How does a leader influence in an organization? So far as the progress is concerned, right, the progress of the organization is concerned, the leader plays a great role. For example, in motivating the subordinates, right, in transforming the policy decisions into reality, in encouraging others, in improving the work efficiency of the workers, right, or all those people who are involved with the organization. How the leader plays an important role in policy making, and what are the outcomes of the policy making? What are the outcomes of his decisions? So I have highlighted all this in my presentation. And what I have done is, again, I repeat, I have highlighted several notable leaders. I have highlighted leaders like Martin Luther King. I have highlighted leaders like Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, like Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. I have taken up Narayan Murthy. So what I have done is I have selected leaders who belong to different fields and who have made their mark in their respective fields, and how we can learn valuable lessons from their lives, from their struggles, from their successes. So, through the excerpts from their speeches, I shall highlight their vision, their struggles, their achievements, and their successes. Yeah. And I have, while discussing about their qualities, I have tried to build an insight into their qualities, which we can imbibe into our organizations, which we can imbibe into our day to day affairs, which we can imbibe into our administrative work, so that we can also learn lessons from them, and that can be a guarantee for success in our ventures. So, leaders from the past and present, I have chosen a few specific leaders who have been pioneers of change, leaders who have been pioneers of change, who have brought social reform, who have transformed society, who have contributed to building community, who have contributed to the progress of the masses, who have brought upliftment of the masses, and who have made significant contribution to bringing in equality. And yes, here it's there, contributors to major institutions, how these leaders have been institutions in themselves, in their own arena of working. And then I have also discussed the impact they have made, how they have inspired. Some of them have been a great influence in the field of education. Some of them have influenced business. Some of them have influenced policy making. Some of them have established huge business empires. And some of them have changed the face of politics, like Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, who have changed society and brought in equality, contributed to the upliftment of the downtrodden, and how these leaders, during their hard journeys, during their journeys towards success, during their journeys towards achievements, how they have um, given face to injustices, uh, the flag they have experienced from their own community, the criticism that they have endured and tolerated, the exploitations that they have tolerated, right? How they have fought with ignorance, how they have fought with stubborn attitudes, how they have fought with obstinacy and all. And what I'm going to focus on is the exceptional qualities of a leader, of a motivator, a leader who is also a motivator, who is also an inspirer, and who plays many, many roles in an organization. So the specific qualities that I have mentioned here, there are, of course, many. I'm going to discuss empathy. I'm going to discuss positive thinking. I'm going to discuss their vision. I'm going to highlight the insights that these leaders had, and their marvelous quality of fearlessness. Right. Uh, yes, the next slide is on Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. So, friends, in this presentation, the leaders that I have selected, I mean, we are all of you are familiar with them. That's why I have chosen those names which are big and also familiar to all of us. And we are also aware of their campaigns. We are also aware of their struggles. So the first leader that I have taken up is Martin King Luther Jr., right? Who fought, campaigned for racial equality in America. We know the hard struggle. We know how the blacks were subjected to exploitation and torture. And what was more crucial was how they were subjected to humiliation by the whites in America. So the black community had been going through exploitation since centuries, through racial discrimination since centuries in America. And because this had been a very long experience, the blacks were exhausted. They had developed what you can say a sort of inferiority complex about their place in America, about their status as human beings, because the kind of treatment that was given to the blacks was no less than that we give to animals. So they were struggling to find a place in the white society. They were struggling to find a place of dignity and respect in the white society. But they were exhausted. They had lost hope. They had become hopeless. And to revitalize such a community was really a challenging task. And this mammoth task, was successfully achieved by Martin King Luther, who revitalized the fight for dignity and respect for African Americans. He instilled hope and confidence among the black people. Yes, we can do it. We can overcome this kind of exploitation and humiliation, and we can fight for equality. Now here, yeah, I have what I have done is I have selected his speech, his famous speech that shows and brings out his strong resolve and determination to achieve his goal. And what was his goal? To win a place of dignity and respect and win equality for the African Americans. So I have chosen his speech, his famous speech, where which is entitled "I Have a Dream." I have a dream. I'm sure most of you must have read that speech of Martin Luther King. Let me just read a few lines from that speech. We do not have time to read the entire speech, but it's marvelous. If you look at the language, if you look at the way he communicates with the blacks, and the way he brings out the injustices done by the American society, that is simply remarkable. Look at the words that he has chosen. What I am going to highlight is the communication, the speech, the language, the words which these leaders employed in order to inspire people, in order to inspire them to fight, in order to inspire them to face. So here I am reading a few lines by Martin Luther King. What he says is, America has given the Negro people a bad check. See, look at the language. America has given the Negro people a check which has come marked insufficient funds, right? A check that has bounced. So what the Americans have given to the blacks is a bad check which cannot be cashed. So that was the position of the blacks there. We refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. So this shows his faith in the justice, the system of justice, right? But he refuses to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. And he has hope that one day equality will be brought, and one day the blacks will succeed in finding a place of respect and dignity in the American society. This statement is enough to inspire the masses. This statement is enough to inspire the thousands of people to whom King was addressing. We refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. Now, this built hope among his community, among the blacks. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vaults of opportunity of this nation. So nowhere, in these sentences, in these lines from his famous speech, nowhere does he criticize or put flag upon the system, right? Nowhere does he criticize the system. He still is hopeful about the system, which he was sure will grant equality to the blacks, which will put them on par with the whites in America. So he says, we are just making our demand. We have come to cash this check, a check that will give us upon demand the riches of freedom and the security of justice. And he says, we have come to this hallowed spot to remind America of the fierce urgency of now. So he is reminding his nation, the nation which all blacks loved as their own nation, right? A place which belonged to them as much as to the whites. He was trying to instill this among the blacks that we are also inhabitants of this nation. And I am appealing to the nation, right, to urgently address this issue, to urgently address this issue. And this line, which I am going to read now, he says about his dream. He says, I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. So, what should differentiate people? That is their talent, right? That should be the basis of different, not the color of the skin, not birth, not race, or anything else. So, this is the wonderful speech by Martin Luther King, and he says, I have a dream. I have a dream. Now, what we can take from Martin Luther King's leadership, what we can learn from his leadership, what we can learn from his example, we can learn his strong faith and hope. Strong faith in his community, in his people, in the American nation, and hope that one day change will come. So his speech shows his faith, his strong faith and hope. It shows his ability to mobilize people towards action. So this is the quality of a leader, right? Since we are talking about skill development, this is one of the most important qualities that a leader should possess. That is to mobilize people to perform an action, to mobilize people, to unify them, because it's very difficult to mobilize people, to unite them, right? Then what we another important lesson that we can learn from Martin Luther King's leadership is his inspiration and empowerment. He ignited hope in hearts, in the hearts that had lost hopes, right? In the hearts of the blacks which had lost hope, which were which had gone through so many years of discrimination, which had gone through so many years of exploitation. So he was just trying to rejuvenate their hearts. Yes, we can do it. He inspired others to strive for an America where equality and freedom would prevail. Right? So he was calling upon, making an appeal to his countrymen, to the blacks, that equality and leadership will prevail one day. Let us work towards it. Let us modify and let us mobilize our efforts and work towards equality and freedom to achieve this. So, an important lesson that we can learn from the example of Martin Luther is the qualities which are essential for leadership, right? He himself being a great leader, he inspires us towards possessing certain qualities that are the mark of a successful leader. What he says is a great leader should possess a clear vision. Yes, the vision that he had, the vision that Martin Luther had for his people, for his community, for the blacks, the vision of establishing equality. And as a leader, one should also have the ability to connect with people and also to inspire them. So this is another great trait of a successful leader. So these are the few qualities that we learn from Martin Luther King. The next example that I am going to take is of Swami Vivekananda. Now we are all familiar with Swami Vivekananda. We know who he was, and he was a great Indian, right? A great Indian philosopher. He was also a spiritual guide. He was also a social reformer. And what was his significant contribution? His significant contribution was he introduced Vedanta and yoga to the Western world. This was his major contribution. So we know he was a great spiritualist and a great social reformer. Now, what were his teachings as a spiritualist, right? As a spiritual guide, as a great Indian philosopher, and as a reformer, he emphasized the universality of all religions, the universality of all religions, and he promoted the unity of humanity. So, one who has this vision, one who believes that all religions are universal, that all religions are on par with each other, one who believes in common humanity, in the unity of all humanity, such a great leader is bound to be a great inspirer as well, is bound to influence the masses. And um, about Swami Vivekanand, I am going to highlight a few lines from his notable speech which he delivered. It was a very influential speech which he delivered in the Parliament of Religions in Chicago at the 1893 World Parliament of Religions in Chicago. So I'm going to read out a few lines from his speech. Okay, I've not, yeah, here, the opening words of his speech. Yeah. He spoke many important things in his speech about Hinduism, about the contribution of Hinduism, right? He highlighted many important aspects of Hinduism on on that platform in a foreign country, right? Now, as I said earlier, a leader who believes in unity of all humanity, in brotherhood and humanity, he is bound to be a great inspirer, because this is a quality trait which great leaders possess. This is a quality trait for which leaders have fought and
मैं आउट
struggled
हो गई थी.
to establish this. So, what was the opening speech of Swami Vivekanand in that parliament? He began his speech with the words, "Sisters and brothers of America." Sisters and brothers of America. Now, these words were like they were a spark. He threw a spark in the audience by uttering the words, "My American brothers and sisters." The audience was so impressed with his speech that they immediately stood up and gave him a standing ovation, gave a standing ovation to Swami Vivekanand. So, see, just one line, but what does it show? It shows that we are all one. You may be Americans, but you are my brothers and sisters. So this inspired the entire audience. It had a magnetic effect, and he received a standing ovation, and people were all in applause for his speech. So immediately when he uttered these words, he could forge a bond. He could form a bond with the audience. So that is very necessary for a leader. I have already mentioned connecting with people is something that a leader should have. Connecting with people and inspiring them. So this is what Swami Vivekanand did. And he put up a wonderful and a brilliant impression of India in America. So this won him a lot of admiration and respect. And so, and what does this show? It shows his empathy. Unless you have empathy, you cannot understand the other person. So that shows his empathetic approach. What you expect for yourself, you should give it to others. So a leader should have that. He should have the feel. He should feel the pulse of the masses. He should feel the pulse of the masses. And unless he does that, he cannot emphasize what he wants to say and what he wants to bring. So that produced a magnetic effect upon the audience, and that also shows his broad perspective, his broad vision. his all-encompassing vision. A leader should have a broad perspective. He should be um, above the tendencies of having petty differences, above the tendencies of discriminating among people, and he should be above the tendency of creating a discord. He should have a broad perspective and he should be all encompassing. So his core principles were empathy and a discipline, because he was a spiritualist, because he had a great faith in Hinduism, because he practiced Vedanta and yoga. Naturally, his life was an example of discipline. So when you have discipline in your life, a good leader also inspires others to have discipline in their lives, which Swami Vivekananda did successfully. So this is about Swami Vivekananda. So the two leaders that we have discussed are Martin Luther King and Swami Vivekananda. And the next great leader that I am going to talk about, whom I am going to discuss, is Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. I mean, India has been blessed to have a leader like Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, a great leader, the leader who won the Bharat Ratna, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, right? His life was a struggle to abolish untouchability. He devoted his entire life to uplift the downtrodden community. He worked for the Dalits, and he reformed the Hindu society by advocating this cause. So abolition of untouchability, this was the biggest achievement of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. I mean, the same situation prevailed in India as the one that prevailed in America. There was discrimination against the blacks in America. In India, there was discrimination against the Dalits or the downtrodden community. So what Ambedkar did was he reformed the Hindu society by working for this cause, by working for their upliftment. And everywhere he tried to promote equality, whether it is the Dalits, the downtrodden community, or women. Let me add that he worked for what you can say, empowering women, for raising their status, right, for uplifting women from being treated as the secondary sex. This was also one of the major contributions of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. So what he did was he promoted equality. He ensured that rights and reservations are granted for Dalit in education and employment. So the credit goes to Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar for bringing in reforms for the Dalit community, for bringing in reforms in Hindu society, for ensuring rights and reservations for the Dalits. Then he was a voice for the Dalits, and he empowered these marginalized communities, whether it is women or whether it is the Dalits. He empowered them. So what a wonderful achievement, what a great achievement. No wonder he was given Bharat Ratna for his achievements, and he secured rights for them. He was instrumental in securing rights and reservations for them in education and employment. Yes. And the lesson that we can learn from Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar is his visionary thinking. His visionary thinking. A leader should have a clear vision for reform and social justice. A clear vision for reform and social justice. And he should be committed to promoting equal rights and opportunities for all. So this is a great lesson. This is a big lesson that we can learn from the life of Ambedkar. Friends, it's not simply it should not be restricted simply to the field of politics or to the society. There is a need to imbibe these qualities in us for our organizations, for our workplaces, right? These are some of the leadership qualities which every leader who heads the organization should have. He should have a clear vision for reform, right? There may be a necessity for reform in our organizations. So on our own small level, we can bring in reforms in our organizations, right? Some of the bad practices. We can, through our hard work, we can eradicate some of the bad practices, some of the evil practices in our own organizations. We can work towards social justice. And if someone feels that he is not properly represented, if someone feels that his rights are transgressed, he is not getting an equal opportunity, so we can be an advocate for such a person who feels that he is being deprived of his rights, he is being deprived of opportunities. So we can apply these great qualities to our sphere, to our places where we work. Yes. So I'm reading out the quote of Dr. Ambedkar. I've taken this from one of his speeches. Uh, Let us see what he says. I quote, "Some men say that they should be satisfied with the abolition of untouchability only, leaving the caste system alone." His concern was not simply the abolition of untouchability. He was after reforming the caste system. The aim of abolition of untouchability alone without trying to abolish the inequalities inherent in the caste system is a rather low aim. So it was not untouchability that agitated his soul. What he wanted was to eradicate inequality in the caste system. Not failure, but low aim is a crime. See, one should aim high. What did Ambedkar say? One should aim high. If disease is not rightly diagnosed, the remedy will be useless and the cure may be delayed. So the actual disease from which the Hindu community was suffering was the caste system that implanted differences among the subcastes. So what he wanted was to eradicate this system in Hinduism. I have hopes that my countrymen will someday learn that the country is greater than men. So he placed his interests with the country, not with a few people or a community. What he looked at was the country, the progress of the country, right? Rather than a progress of the few. And when can a country be great? When it overcomes, when it rises above such petty differences, when it cures its caste system of the differences and discriminations that are in it. What a great thought. So what is the leadership lesson that we can learn from Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar? It is vision beyond immediate goals. It is vision beyond immediate goals. One should have a vision that that works in the long run, not a small goal. Of course, we should go towards achieving small goals also, but our vision should be broad. Then diagnosis and remedy, he says, importance of addressing the root causes for effective solutions. This is how he diagnosed the Indian society, Hinduism, and the remedy was importance of addressing the root causes for effective solution. The root cause was the difference in the religious philosophy, the difference that it creates among the different subcastes, and the solutions that one can give for removing this. Then we come to the next slide. I hope I am being clear. Um, Hello, audience. I
Yes,
hope I.
ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So, what was Dr. Ambedkar's legacy of social justice? He played a pivotal role in shaping the foundational document of India's democracy. And what was that foundational document? It was the Constitution, right? He created a constitution which till date remains one of the best constitutions in the world. So Dr. Ambedkar played a crucial role in shaping this document, this great document of India's democracy. His commitment to equality, which is reflected in the Constitution's emphasis on fundamental rights, abolition of untouchability, right? And how, let us in brief look at the life of Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar. So he was born into a Dalit family, right? He himself was a Dalit and he suffered discrimination and untouchability. He suffered this. and his life was a tribute to his struggle, right? And his life, and he championed the cause of social justice. He was successful in overcoming adversity, and he became a champion of social justice. Then he was a strong advocate of education. He was a tireless advocate of education, because education, he believed, was a means of empowering people. It is through education that we empower. So today, the thousands and crores, thousands and lakhs of Dalits who are taking education, who have equal opportunities with others. In fact, they have reservations in education, in jobs. They are the result of, this is all the result of the efforts of Dr. Ambedkar, right, towards empowering his community. So he worked in establishing educational institutions to uplift the marginalized sections of the society. So, and how is Dr. Ambedkar relevant even today? So, Ambedkar is relevant because he imparted us great lessons in democracy, justice, and equality, which are relevant, which are applicable even now, right? We all should strive towards protecting democracy. We all should strive towards procuring justice wherever we see injustice, and work towards equality. So his ideal of equitable society, it is still in progress, and it requires our commitment, right? It still requires our commitment to the principles of dignity and rights for all. We still need to struggle in that direction. Ambedkar gave us the guidelines, and we need to still work on it. Still, certain things can be improvised upon. There is always a room for improvement, as it is said. Yet another leader whom I would like to highlight here is Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, who was a pioneer of modern education. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. Uh, how do we remember Sir Syed? He founded the Aligarh Muslim University, right, and worked towards education and upliftment of the Muslim community. And he sowed the seeds for modern education within the Muslim community. And what he promoted was Western knowledge and Islamic teachings. Western knowledge and Islamic teachings. And he initiated the Aligarh movement, which called for educational reform. And he felt the need for rational interpretation of Islam in the context of modern science. And what he believed was that English should be used to enhance opportunities in government and modern professions. So he advocated the use of English language for better opportunities in government, jobs, education, and in also in modern professions. And he translated educational materials into Urdu for greater accessibility. Now, he was working for the upliftment of the Muslim community. So he translated a lot of educational material into Urdu so that it would be accessible to the layman who did not know English, or who were away from modern education. Then he was a strong advocate of women's education. He promoted women's education. He established schools for girls, and he challenged social societal norms. He emphasized the importance of female education. And he founded a society to disseminate scientific knowledge through conferences and publications in English and Urdu. So his major contribution was he transformed the educational landscape for Muslims in India. He inspired the future generations and fostered a spirit of inquiry and progress. So that was a big contribution of Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. The Aligarh Muslim University still is recognized as one of the um, standard universities of India. It has made its name internationally also, and some of the best students, some of the best statesmen, leaders, businessmen have been students of Aligarh Muslim University. So here is a very important quote from one of his speeches which he delivered in a college, and this is the speech is really very inspiring. I am reading a few lines from his speech. What are those lines? What does he say? He says, "Oh, my dear children, oh, my dear children, you had reached a particular stage. And remember one thing, that when I undertook the task, there was criticism all against me and abuses all upon me. And when he took up the task of uplifting the Muslim community, there was opposition from the community and from outside. So this is what happened to Savitribai Phule and Jyotiba Phule when they started the campaign to educate women, when they strived hard to start a school. This is what happened. There was criticism all around them. There were abuses hurled at them upon Savitribai Phule, upon Jyotiba Phule. The same thing was experienced by Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. And he says, I received lot of criticism, abuses. Life had become so difficult for me that I aged before my age. People had, so this is what happens when you follow the path of truthfulness, when you follow the path of progress, you win opponents. The first thing that you win is opposition, opponents. So, I mean, all the leaders face this. People made their life hell. People planted many difficulties, hurdles in their path, so that they give up and be defeated. But what does he say? Life had become so difficult for me that I aged before my age, that I became old before my age. I lost my hair, my eyesight, but I did not lose my vision. My vision never dimmed. My determination never failed. I built this institution for you, and I am sure you will carry the light of this institution far and wide. Darkness will disappear from all around. So this was his vision. Difficulties did not bother him. Hurdles did not trouble him. He might have lost his hair, his eyesight, he might have grown before his age, but he did not lose his vision. His vision never failed him. And finally, he could build this great institution. And he says, you should carry the light of this institution, and darkness will disappear from all around. What a great speech, and what a great resolve. So, what one can learn from from Sir Syed Ahmad Khan is how he was able to overcome criticism and personal hardships to pursue educational reform. So this is the best thing that one can do, educational reform, and he could successfully achieve this. Then he had a great vision for future generations. He emphasized the importance of education as a tool for empowerment. So it is this belief of Sir Syed Ahmad Khan that led to the establishment of Aligarh Muslim University, and that led to the reform in education, especially among the Muslim community. So what was the legacy of Aligarh Muslim University? What is its legacy? It encouraged students to spread knowledge and promote the spirit of inquiry. So this was a major contribution, and till date, the university is progressing and making huge contributions to the society and also to the community. Then another leader whom I have taken up is from the field of business, right? The one who established a great business empire. It's none other than Narayana Murthy, right? We all know him, and he is regarded as the father of the Indian IT sector. He is the father of the Indian IT sector, and he is known for his pioneering role. I mean, he pioneered the establishment of a huge company, right? A multinational company known as Infosys. So he established Infosys and shaped the Indian software industry. His contribution was in shaping the Indian software industry. So some key aspects of his impact and legacy include, now let us in brief discuss about the Infosys uh, as a big company. So it was in 1981 that Narayana Murthy founded the Infosys company with six software professionals, only six software professionals, starting with an initial capital of just 10,000 rupees provided by his wife Sudha Murthy. Only 10,000 rupees. That was the amount that he invested in starting the big company with six software professionals. So, under his leadership, Infosys grew to become one of the largest IT companies in India. Today, Infosys is one of the biggest IT companies in India, and it has an annual turnover of 40,000 crores, a whopping 40,000 crores. So, see the success, the great success that Narayana Murthy achieved with the establishment of Infosys. Now, what are the key contributions of Narayana Murthy? He conceptualized the global delivering model, right? And I'm reading this, the second part, driving innovation and excellence. So Infosys became a leader in innovation under Murthy's stewardship, and it gained excellence in areas like technical and managerial training, software technology, quality, productivity, customer focus, employee satisfaction infrastructure. He introduced the concept of 24-hour workday to the world. He promoted ethical business practices, and he is known for his commitment to fairness, to high standards of corporate governance at Infosys. He introduced an open evaluation system, allowing team members to assess their evaluators. So, this is his contribution to the field, and through Infosys, he has established um, a new culture, the corporate culture, which is accepted worldwide. And we know his high standards of governance at Infosys. And he has been honored with numerous awards. He was awarded the Padma Vibhushan, Padma Shri, and several awards by France, by Britain, right? And he won the Young World Entrepreneur of the Year award. So he has been ranked among the greatest entrepreneurs of our time by Fortune magazine, and one of the most admired global business leaders by the Economist. So, from like with a small capital of 10,000 rupees, Murthy established a huge business empire, right? A successful business empire. And today he is one of the leading entrepreneurs of our time, right? Ranked as the most admired global business leader by the Economist. And yeah, here is the speech of Narayan Murthy. I am reading an excerpt from his speech. What he says is, it is a unified multitude and not a mere group of people. Right? About business or establishment of a business empire, he says, it's not a mere group of people. As it is said in the Vedas, man can live individually but can survive only collectively. Hence, the challenge is to form a progressive community by balancing the interests of the individual and that of the society. Now, look at his vision, look at his faith in the Vedas. A man cannot survive individually, he cannot live individually, but he can survive only collectively. And he says, in order to achieve this, we need to develop a value system where people accept modest sacrifices for the common good. There are two pillars of cultural value system, he says. There are two pillars of the cultural value system. So he is the one who upholds Indian culture and has a strong faith in Indian culture, Indian values, and the family system. So what does he say? The two pillars of cultural value system are loyalty to family and loyalty to community. Yes, these are the two things for which a person lives, and this should be his purpose: loyalty to family and loyalty to community. Right? Loyalty. If one is loyal to family, one is bound to be loyal to the community. So one should not be in isolation to the other, because successful societies are those which combine both harmoniously. So family as an important institution and community, he says that both are uh, bound together. They are inseparable. So that also reflects his strong faith in Indian values, Indian family system, his faith in Indian values, and his vision to for a successful society. What can lead to the formation or making creation of a successful society. So what can we take from Narayan Murthy's vision? He emphasizes that is unity and community. He emphasizes the importance of collective survival over individualism. He advocates collective survival over individualism. Then the value system he developed, he advocates for a value system that promotes, prioritizes the common good and modest sacrifices, and loyalty to family and community, essential for a successful society. Right? There are several, what you can say, spheres of a society, and the smallest unit is the family. So if one is loyal to that unit, one is loyal to the community, and if one is loyal to the family and community, then that can build a great successful society. So no doubt, Narayan Murthy could achieve great success. And here you have the last leader that I am going to discuss is Abraham Lincoln, right? And we know who he was. He was the 16th president of America, and he was one of the greatest presidents of America. And the greatest challenge before him again was the abolition of slavery, which he achieved successfully. Then he guided the nation through a challenging period when America was going through the Civil War, and he was a great speaker. Right, he is known for his political acumen, for his understanding of politics, and balancing the interests of various factions in the parties, his ability to communicate effectively and rally support, right? And he was a yes, he was a voracious reader, a lawyer, right, and an intellect. And though if you look at his life, he was born in a poor family. He struggled there. Then he established his empathetic leadership, right? And he is remembered today as one of the greatest presidents of America. He for his vision for a unified nation and commitment to equality. And this is an excerpt from his speech, the famous Gettysburg Address, right? Where he said that the 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this occasion a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We have highly resolved that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Again, that shows his resolve to bring about equality, right? To overcome the challenges facing the nation, and his strong faith in democracy as government of the people, for the people, and by the people. So this was the famous speech that he gave on the occasion during the Civil War, one of the bloodiest battles, um, which rocked America. And he emphasized liberty and equality as central to the nation's identity. And he called to action. He called all the people to action. So Lincoln was known for his clarity, for his simple style, for his empathy, for connection, for encouragement of open dialogue, right? For his visionary leadership, for his compassion, for his decision making, right? So this is what it was about Abraham Lincoln. So I come to the conclusion of my presentation. As I began, good communication is the key to success. I hope I have done justice to my presentation. I wanted to highlight the qualities for leadership, the qualities and skills that a leader should possess, and which I have highlighted, which I have brought out through the examples of great leaders, through their speeches, through their language, through their qualities, and finally their achievements. So here is the last slide, which says the examples of the leaders we discussed demonstrate that effective communication is a crucial tool for leaders in driving change. So if you are good communicators, right? Sorry, if you are leaders, you should have effective communication. You should possess strong communication skills. Only then you can bring a change. Only then you can inspire people, and only then you can shape the course of history. We can embody qualities such as clarity, empathy, vision, ethical leadership, and a commitment to social justice. Right? So these are the necessary qualities. These are the requisites for good leadership. These qualities: clarity, empathy, vision, ethical leadership, commitment to social justice. And the leaders that I have discussed, they have left an indelible mark in the world because they possessed all these qualities, which I have highlighted in my presentation. So such individuals remain uh, an inspiration in our journey to develop communication skills. So our purpose is development of good skills, development of communication skills, communication for leadership. So in order to do that, apart from the other efforts that we take up, we can also take inspiration from our very own leaders, leaders like Vivekanand, leaders like Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, right? Leaders like Vivekanand, leaders like Martin Luther King. We should take them as our inspirers. We should take them as an inspiration, and we should learn to communicate like them. We should learn to have a vision like them. We should learn to rise above petty differences. We should learn to rise above the idea of race, caste, community, and we should rise above all such small considerations and work towards building a developed India, work towards building a developed nation. So this ends my presentation, and
Uh, Ankita,
Thank you so much, ma'am. Your insights were truly enlightening. On behalf of everyone present here today, I sincerely thank you, ma'am, for sharing your knowledge and expertise with us. Contribution to this workshop has been invaluable and it will undoubtedly contribute to our collective learning and growth. Thank you all for your attention and participation throughout the session. As we end this session, we have one final opportunity to engage with our esteemed speaker. All the participants have any questions, please type them in the chat box or the raise hand feature. Once recognized, you can unmute yourself to ask your question directly. If you have any question, you ask ma'am now.
good
uh,
afternoon, ma'am.
good afternoon.
I have a question. Uh, how did the challenges and criticism faced by the founders of Aligarh Muslim University shape their vision for education reform? And like, how does this legacy continue to influence the university's mission today?
Yes, when Dr. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan took up his campaign for educational reform, there was a lot of criticism from the community itself, from the Muslim community itself. And there were many challenges because we are talking about the past, and in those times, Muslims were slightly averse to modern education, scientific education. And Sir Syed Ahmad Khan reformed the education system by integrating Islamic teachings with modern education. Earlier, the focus was like if you speak about madrasa education and all, the focus was on Islamic teachings only. But he reformed the community and he advocated modern education, scientific teaching, right? Teaching of science and westernization and Western education. He advocated English language. So, I mean, his role was significant, and that, I mean, he could achieve it. The university was established, and many great scholars and poets are students of that university, and till date it remains one of the best universities in India. I think you all people know better about Aligarh Muslim University. Sorry, my camera isn't working. I'm trying to switch on the camera.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm not able to switch it on. Did I did I answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Any other questions, students?
You can write your questions in the chat box as well.
Mm-hmm.
Ma'am, I have one question.
Okay.
Uh, how can conflict be managed effectively in an interpersonal relationship?
Are you talking about business communication, in the context of business communication?
Yes, ma'am.
A situation of conflict.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The best way to break the ice, I think, is good communication and face-to-face communication. See, there are times when, I mean, people just refuse to talk to you. They just refuse to acknowledge your contribution, or they refuse to talk to you. There are many situations like that which arise for for no reason, or for any small silly reason. So in such a situation, open dialogue is the best way to resolve a conflict. That's what I feel. Open dialogue, nothing else, no other option. Open dialogue, confronting people.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
Ma'am, I must say that your insights were truly enlightening. And the leaders that you talked about, we tend to forget about them. But, their vision, the challenges they faced, and the kind of development they have brought, that is
Yes,
truly inspiring. So, thank you so much once again for
that's
reminding
the
us.
thank you so much, Rashi. And that is the reason why I brought those leaders to the fore. I mean, in discussion, because we have inspirers all around us. We have so many wonderful leaders in our own midst, our own Indian leaders, and also from the West. I mean, through their examples, through their speeches, we can still rejuvenate our campaigns, our small struggles, and in our own small way, we can contribute to the progress of our organizations, of our institutions, resolve conflicts, and make our own small contributions to the progress of our own organizations, to our country, to our society. That would be the biggest contribution, right, on our part.
Yes, ma'am.
That was
Okay,
great.
Ankita. Ankita, you can end the session. I don't think there are any more questions.
If there are no
Just one second. Thank you for the opportunity once again. I want to thank all from the bottom of the heart. I thank all the organizers of this wonderful workshop for giving me this opportunity to interact with you, to get in touch with you. That was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thanks.
ma'am. The pleasure was all ours.
If there are no further questions, we will proceed to the final segment of this session.
Before we end the session, I would request everyone to complete the feedback form and the assignment within 24 hours. Your feedback is crucial for us to improve and cater to your learning needs. Thank you all for joining us today. We hope to see you all for tomorrow's session by Mr. Divyaraj Amaya, lecturer at Eberhard Karls University of Tübingen, Germany, on the topic A New South Asian Studies for New Global Challenges, Its Whys and Hows. Thank you so much, ma'am, and everyone present here.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.